everyone, it's Ashwin Rao, and today's shoe ramble brings you a bit of an unboxing. RB, Rapha Brothers. So who is Rapha Brothers and why would I care to add them to my collection? Well, we're going to do an unboxing to find out, and for those of you who know me, you will recognize rapidly why I'm enthusiastic about this brand. Rapha Brothers, RB. You can see pretty solid standard box here. And there we have two bags. I will say I'm excited that they sent me two shoes, because you want two shoes. You can see the heel peeking out there, just showing itself as a little tease. Shoe bag. And bada bing, an Austerity Brogue from Rapha Brothers. But why I'm enthusiastic about Rapha Brothers is that this is the first ready-to-wear offering from Winson Shoemaker. I think they only have 3 models and 1 last right now. And this is the Wesley Chesterfield here. This is their Austerity Brogue. And so this is a shoe that offers many of Winson's highly regarded made-to-order features and as a ready-to-wear option. This is a round-toed last, really no chisel. It's a fairly rounded last. I reached out to ML Putra, and he mentioned to me that this was essentially a modified Kirin last. The Kirin last is Winson's round-toed last. It's incredibly popular for Winson, and he decided to make a shoe that would be more accommodating to people in the forefoot. So there's actually some more space in the forefoot that kind of hides in the design that is very similar to the Kirin last, but maybe a little bit more spacious for people with wider feet. These are entirely hand welted, hand stitched outsoled, and hand lasted shoes. So you're getting a nearly handmade shoe. I'm guessing that the upper seams are stitched by machine, but you can see how clean that work really is. You also, just pulling into the welt stitch here, this is hand-stitched outsole stitching. You can also see, if you look at the heel block, it has hand-stack leather heel block, but there's no step-off between the waist here and the heel block, which is something I've become accustomed to with Winson shoes. Further, if you look into the waist here, you can see that this does not have a blind stitched waist. You can see the stitching within the waist of the shoe all the way to 270 degrees right there. And that is a slight compromise compared to Winson's shoes, but these are several $100s cheaper. Another feature that might be a little harder to tell is that if you look at the edges of the cut seams, the leather is actually folded over, so you don't see that kind of hard, raw edge that you see when something is just cut to expose the unfinished side of the rough outside of the leather. You can see that there's no heel split on the heel counter there. There's no split seam there. And if I pull back, you can see this shoe offers more of a block heel. Most of Winson's lines have a more tapered heel. There's a slight bevel to the waist here, but generally it's not a squared off waist, it's definitely a slightly beveled waist. It's this beautiful sole work, and it included Rapha Brothers branded toe plate. The finish of this sole almost has characteristics of like wood or grained wood. And you can see that there's a very elegantly, beautifully done fiddleback. This is one of the nicest ready-to-wear soles I've ever experienced. There's a slightly wider waist here than you might see on some of Winson's made-to-order or bespoke level shoes, but it's still quite an elegant design that fits the shoe. And I love how the color on the sole matches this museum calf leather, which I believe is from the Ilcia tannery. So really cool shoe. This is very almost like a paper bag, but it does have the Rapha Brothers logo on it right there. You can see the RB Rapha Brothers logo. You can see that the bag has a pull tab on it. But this is something that feels like it's more meant for storage or repackaging. And then obviously what's in the shoe to create, instead of a shoe tree, is just some paper. So they're cutting costs in certain ways here like this. But again, you're seeing quite a clean design. So if I pull in again, just beautifully done upper stitching. You can see the hard fudge on the welt, the relatively high stitch density across the outsole stitch, the narrow waist but not a blind channel waist, and then just a beautiful sole. My God, the sole's one of the most impressive things, along with the seams here that I see that are folded over. To me, that's really a unique feature, that the leather is folded to create a more smooth, clean profile and look. This is a pretty light shoe. And again, I just think that the lines flow really well. You're getting the aesthetic and the design of the Winson Shoemaker brand, which, as you know, has rapidly become one of my favorite. You can see how this shoe catches light. And while this is a stock last, it has some really nice shape to it. The shape of the wingtip, the placement of the wingtip along the top of the shoe, the proportionality of the facing to the vamp, to the toe box, the placement of the heel counter, the cleanliness of the work on the upper, as well as the cleanliness of the sole, and even the compromises, the outsole stitching, which actually they use a contrast stitch to kind of even show that, hey, while we might be having slightly less fit and finish compared to Winson, we're doing a really good job, and this is a hand-stitched outsole. The lasting, as far as I can tell, is done very cleanly. I don't see any issues with lasting at all. And welting, same thing. Everything looks really good. When I purchased these, I think they just announced that these shoes are priced at $455 plus shipping. Have a good one. Hope you enjoyed this unboxing shoe ramble. Bye.